Hey guys, welcome back. Halfway through our review of M13 up to the red stuff now. Here we go. Arms dealer, a goblin. Basically, he says for 5 mana, I will kill something for you and deal 4 damage to it. And bonus, if you have other goblins, he's just really good. Remember, you don't always have to play him at 3 mana. You can save him till turn 5, play him, not pass priority, and then shoot something if you really need to. If you feel that he may die right away, then you got to keep that in mind sometimes. Blade Tusk Boar, 3/2 Intimidate. Intimidate means he's got to be blocked by a artifact creature or a red creature. This guy is actually decent. He, a lot of the times, will just be unblockable and take chunks out of their lives. Canyon Minotaur, completely playable, especially in core formats like this. 3/3 for 4 is reasonable. I'm not going to go and tell you, be like, yeah, play 15 of them, but 1, maybe 2 is always playable. Chandra, you play just because you have the ability to pick things off, the ability to copy spells, and if you ever get her to -6, it basically should win you the game. Also, she's a Planeswalker, so a lot of times, especially at pre-releases, people get fixated on trying to kill Planeswalkers or, mixing up their attacks, screwing things up. One thing about this, I don't really like the Chandra art. She has kind of a butterface, so I mean, keep that in mind. She's not going to be the prettiest girl at the dance, but you want to dance with her because she'll kick some ass. Chandra's Fury. Um, it does what it does. I mean, it'll kill some little dudes. It'll get you that last 4 points of damage that you might need. I can't advocate playing multiples of these if they're like running a white weenie deck or a few flyers with 1 toughness. Then you could play this to kind of do it. It will screw up combat for them, and they will probably feel safe being at a low life against you and maybe not play around this card. So you might be able to surprise a few people with it, but I don't think it's amazing. Okay, this is an interesting card. Cleaver Riot, which is a bunch of dudes fighting with cleavers. You got to do it pre-combat, so don't mess up and think this is an instant because that would be bananas. The fact is, you're going to give your guys double strike. If you have fatter guys than they do, you're going to basically just win the game. Um, but keep in mind that they'll probably just block, and then you're going back to a board state where you end up having all your guys, and they probably don't have a lot of their guys. So I think this is a pretty good card in a limited format. I could be completely off. The fact that it's sorcery might make people annoyed, especially if you're playing against um, blue and they have a way to tap down your guys and stuff like that. I mean, you really have to kind of use this as an all-in move and try to finish them off. Craterize, destroy target land. I liked it better when it's demolish because it has an actual relevant ability. Crimson Mud Waiter, Muck Wait Water, Waiter, Water. I think it's water, muck water. 2/1 could be a 3/2 for 2, which is very aggressively costed, and being able to regenerate it makes it better. I kind of like all of these guys at uncommon, but this one's very aggressively costed. Dragon Hatchling will get in there. It seems very puny and like, oh, it's just a little baby dragon, who gives a crap. But being able to sink your mana, especially late game, this is actually a very good threat late game because of the fact that you can just have a bunch of lands in play and just play this out and be like, oh, all right, and then next turn swing for 5 or 6 or 7. So it's actually a clock late game. It's okay early game too. It's very easy to block and deal with in the air, so keep that in mind. Fervor is better than you probably think. Giving all your dudes haste allows you to kind of just make stupid things happen out of nowhere. It's good when the board is a stalemate or when you're ahead or if you're aggressive. It sucks late game if you're not winning. but I would play it if I'm playing red and I have a lot of dudes, especially if I'm paired with like red green or, red white and I want to give some of my bigger, fatter guys haste. Fire Elemental, you'll play it 5/4 for 5, nothing wrong with that. It is common, so that's always good. That means you might have a couple of these guys. I wouldn't play more than two, because they do get outclassed by the green cards later on. Firewing Phoenix, like I said in my earlier videos, a recurable source or threat is always nice, and a 4/2 flyer is very good for 4. I mean, it has a weak butt, but it attacks really hard, hits hard. The thing is, it costs triple red to bring back, so if you're not heavy red, you're probably just playing it as a 4/2 flyer, which I think is fine. But over the course of the game, you should be able to bring it back to your hand. The good thing is you could bring it back to your hand at instant speed and then replay it. So, you could leave up mana, especially in like a blue red deck, and then, end of turn, bring it back and replay it out. Flames of the Firebrand, don't get confused. This card is sorcery. It's very good. 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 creatures and players. You can hit them straight up for 3. You can kill 3 1 toughness guys, or a 3 toughness guy, or a 2 toughness and a 1 toughness guy. You can kill a 1 toughness guy and deal 2 to them. The possibilities are, very, very vast. So I would play that. It's a good uncommon. Furnace Whelp is always solid. It's the bigger brother of the Hatchling. 2/2 for 4 is okay usually, but this gets the fire breathing ability and could pump, and that's very awesome. Goblin Arsonist is playable because a lot of times you can swing in with it, swing in with it. It kills 1 toughness things. It also takes down 2 toughness things as a blocker. Plus he has a sweet pyramid hat, so you can't hate on that. Goblin Batter Jester. I think this is better than it looks. Um, Making their best creature not able to block is very nice, even if you're just playing out another red creature. Um, it's any red spell, so keep that in mind. It's not just red creature spell, but being able to really make things unblock kind of turns things in your favor. I think it's a little small to cost 4. A 2/2 isn't really going to get the job done, but if you're able to play 2 red spells and they have 2 blockers and you have a bunch of guys, then you kind of can get through, so keep that in mind. Hamlet back Goliath is back. Um, it's a big dork. What do you want me to say? It wins games on its own. It gets stupid big. I mean, if they don't murder it, you're good. If they don't have death touch, you're good. If they don't have ways to tap it down, keep it tapped, pacify it, you're good. So sometimes stupid big things that go roar win. And remember, it's whenever another creature enters the battlefield, it's not another creature you control, it's another creature in general. So make sure you get those counters ready. Kindled Fury, the fact that it gives first strike is relevant. The fact that it gives 1/0 is okay. I probably wouldn't play it unless you're low on tricks. I could be completely wrong, but it doesn't really appeal to me. Cranko is good. If he had haste, he'd be amazing. He at least gives you a 1/1 red goblin when he taps. If you have other goblins, this card can get stupid quick and out of hand. He basically has to survive a turn to give you value. Remember, he also is a 3/3 for 4, so that's very relevant. He works really well with Arms Dealer, like really, really well. Krenko's Command, we'll see play. 2/2 for 2 is always good, even though it's split over 2 bodies. It's really good with Krenko and Arms Dealer. Magma Quake, yeah, I don't see why you don't play this ever. It's instant, does not kill flyers, so if you're sitting there and you're looking at a bunch of flyers, you're going to be sad. It's most likely killing most of your things, so you might want to play your creatures out slowly if you have this in hand and kind of blindside them. But if you need to play it just to kill a planeswalker, you do that. Make sure you don't let it sit in your hand. It also is instant, so that's always nice. Mark of Mutiny is really good, especially with the vampire that sacks. Um, I think it's like the Blood Throne vampire, whatever. And it kind of wins games. It is main deckable, but it's kind of more in aggressive style decks. You'll see people stealing your best guy and giving it trample and putting a 1/1 counter on it and being like, oh, God, that card shouldn't even really be in their deck. It's not that archetype or whatever. But the fact is, don't play it and then not kill them with it, unless you can kill them that turn or the next turn, because you're giving their guy a 1/1 buff. You can also do it on your creature. You can also do it on a creature that has summon sickness that you just played. So it is very versatile. So let me just go over that one more time. You could steal their dude, give it 1/1 and trample. Boom. You can play a dude, give it haste and 1/1 and trample. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't trample. I apologize. I got screwed up. Give it 1/1 counter and give it haste and then attack with that guy. Okay, so those are two modes, but you better make sure you don't get screwed over by it. Okay, Mindclaw Shaman, 2/2. This card is going to be like very random, but when it's good, it's going to be amazing. When it sucks, it's going to suck. Like playing this and being able to murder a creature for free is just like, wow. But, playing this and then they have nothing in their graveyard, yeah. I'm sorry, it's their hand. Like, I apologize. Yeah, like if they have something good in their hand, you basically are able to cast it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you're just gonna straight up whiff. Mog Flunkies is very undercasted, but you have to have dudes. Um, this is a straight aggro creature. I mean, it can block in situations if you need it to be, but you have to attack and block with other dudes. So let's say you play out a 1-drop and then him and then you swing in. You're most likely losing your 1/1, so then you got to follow it up with another creature. So it looks really good on paper, but it's a little bit harder to use than I think most people give it credit for. Reckless Brute, 3/1 haste. Yeah, 3/1 haste for 3 is fine, especially in your aggressive style decks. He is going to probably trade off with something crappy, but if you have something that exalts and you swing with him and he's exalted as a 4/2, that's really good. Um, but he's probably going to get in there for 3 and then eventually just die. Reverberate is fine. I don't usually play with it unless they have an instant or sorcery that is amazing or I have one myself. Rummaging Goblin will do work. It'll be like Mad Prophet, but not as good, although it costs less, but it doesn't haste, which kind of sucks, and it's a 1/1 versus a 2/2. But, late in the game when you're drawing lands, you chuck one and draw a new card. Searing Spear, yep, play it, always splash it, do your thing. It's fine. Slumbering Dragon is a 3/3 flyer. When finally it wakes up, it's an 8/8 flyer. By then they probably should be able to hatch a plan to kill it, or pacify it, or do O-ring it, or tap it down or whatever. But the thing is, I can see people winning games with it on its own. Um, but the thing is, I don't think it's playable. I mean, I could be completely wrong. You have to have it early on, and if you're getting attacked 5 times with stuff, you're probably losing, especially if you're playing red, because red isn't very defensive. Smelt is very good. It just pretty much is a fixed crush, since it could destroy artifacts at one and instant, and it's very sweet. All right, here's the best red card, hands down. Thundermaw Hellkite, cost 5/5/5 flying haste, kills things when it attacks. When it enters the battlefield, it kills other flyers, and it taps them. That's the thing. It basically just says like, okay, I'm gonna kill all your small flyers, and then I'm gonna attack the kill, tap down the rest, and just smash through. Okay, Torch Fiend is very okay. It's acceptable, especially if you have a lot of the equipment. Sometimes you can not play him out right away because that will make them play differently, but he is aggressive. So you want to play him out, and I think just beat. And then if you get to kill an artifact later on, you're all good. Trumpet Blast is okay. It kind of gets people out of nowhere. It's not really a card that's respected, but people do play it in aggressive strategies. I've lost to it and I've killed people with it. But it's really niche. Like I wouldn't play it if I didn't have to. Turn to Slag. Yup, super awesome red removal spell. I remember killing metal crafted stuff that had equipment on it and just being like, oh, that seems good. I would definitely play Turn to Slag. It kills most things, and if you could end up killing stuff off of it, like equipment, you're good. Alright, Volcanic Visor, X damage to target creature or player. It's a fireball. It is instant, but it costs one more red. But yeah, you definitely play that at uncommon. Killing things at instant or just doming somebody for X is usually a good feeling. Volcanic Strength is kind of good if they are playing mountains. It's amazing if they're playing mountains. If they're not playing mountains, it's okay. I mean, you could run it, like I've said in all the other videos, or as potentially lead to blowouts. Wall of Fire is fine. It sits there and then it actually trades with stuff later on. I wouldn't want to run into a giant Wall of Fire if I could avoid it. I would play it if you're like a red and blue style deck or a red black kill stuff deck or they're playing an aggressive deck. If you're aggressive, you wouldn't play it since it has defender. Wild Guest, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It doesn't make you discard a card at random, but it really just says pay double red, draw one card. I mean, you only really get value if you're chucking a land that you don't need, but you're still losing a card to draw one card for two, so probably doesn't get played. Um, Finally, World Fire costs 9. Yeah, okay. If you do that at your pre-release, go you, 'cause I don't have the balls to play that card. Um, it's also just it makes it fun. It makes Magic fun, but don't play that card. All right. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and green is up next.